start with the introductions and then jump right into the tongue twisters. Why don't we all stand? Stand? You're right. I'm sorry.
I love the performance art aspect of the theater. I love pretending to be like someone else for a little bit, stepping into a different physicality every once in a while. I've been a wheelchair user for a little over a year. Before that, I was using crutches, and before that, I was using a cane. I deal with like a lot of chronic pain. I have a hamstring injury that never fully healed. I deal with like a lot of balance problems as part of FND, and so I use mobility aids to keep myself safe. With the disadvantages, I feel like a lot of this is left over from the ugly laws, where it was pretty much illegal for disabled people to be in a public space. The infrastructure back then just wasn't set up for disabled people in general, and so you get things like stairs but no ramps, no elevators.
I do think that there are some industry standards that keep some people with more physical disabilities out of spaces just for the matter of physical accessibility itself. And it's something that's really just come to my attention since working with more physically disabled people in my career here at the university. Not very many spaces are accessible.
I actually deal with that a lot here at my school. Our fine arts building at our school, so you have to go up this lift around to the actual elevator to go down, and then I have to go around through this long hallway and then up this ridiculously steep ramp that's out of ADA regulation. I've fallen down it so many times before, and then I can get into the theater space. However, someone finally told me about going through the scene shop, and so I still have to go up the tiny lift to go down the regular elevator and go around. But then I go through the scene shop instead of having to do the steep ramp, which works really well. And even on my good days where I can use my crutches, I still go the no stair route. If you can see these stairs behind me, these are the death stairs. They're really steep. It's not worth the risk of injuring myself potentially on these stairs.
In terms of making changes to facilities, which for private businesses might be easier, but something like a university, really hard. The state doesn't necessarily just get behind the university in funding these kind of changes. Now, I understand that the financial climate is very challenging. I still think that we can do better.
Having the building actually accessible would be the hugest thing ever. However, if we're talking about other routes of making sure that there is that consideration, if people could just not schedule things in a location that's not accessible, there's other people in the UAF theater productions that also have mobility challenges that might not be inherently obvious to other people. Please take into account that we're all going to be disabled at some point or another, some of us sooner rather than later. It's not my health conditions that are necessarily disabling, it's how the infrastructure and how society is run that is the most disabling part of things.
In terms of supporting, predominantly we can speak truth to power to the people who can make changes. Talking to your fellows and offering personal help. We hear these wonderful stories about people helping each other and doing monumental feats to help one another. And so minus the industry standards taking care of us, we really do have to reach out to one another. Conversations like this is a great start. Being aware that the theater benefits all kinds of different people, and particularly those with disabilities and neurodiverse mindsets.
If you're unsure of how to work with somebody with a disability, be like, hey, I don't know how to make this work. Can we work together? That's what I saw with Strike and with the burlesque show that I did. You know, they didn't know how to choreograph something for a wheelchair user, and we worked together to figure something out. It worked beautifully. It's okay if you ask someone, hey, do you need help? And they don't need help, but just asking people, taking into consideration different things, finding workarounds, and try to educate yourself on ways of making the world more accessible.
Reach out. I know that here at UAF Theater and Film, if somebody is having an issue with something, we want to know about it. I know that another group that I worked with, Fairbanks Shakespeare Theater, they've made accommodations. And the result of that is a fellow actor that I really like, who uses a wheelchair, was able to be in these productions. Not only is that important for them personally, but it's super important for anybody who goes to those shows, who said, I see myself on stage. People like them being able to lead full, inclusive lives. This is really important.
When you come into a space where you can channel and share in those often difficult feelings with another community member, someone who understands your struggles, theater reduces the effects of PTSD while you're acting, dancing, singing, storytelling. When you resonate with your community, it can be physically healing, it can be mentally therapeutic. That kind of family building is similar in a way to church and to family. And while it sometimes can be short-lived, you build these communities that last sometimes for lifetimes.
Definitely be aggressive in advocating for your rights. We have just as much of a right to be in this space, to be in a educational space also as anybody else. And don't let anyone tell you differently. Go be you, be amazing, and I'll catch you in the next stage production, I guess.